Okay, so the first book, I feel like these angles are hilarious. The first book I'm going to read a synopsis was Cure for Drowning. And wow, just a few chapters in, I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm doing this. Because if it's like prize winners or things like this, it's books I would never normally choose to read. But I was loving this book. And it made me so happy to discover things I wouldn't normally discover, you know? Okay, so this one, Cure for Drowning, I think it was like a Giller Prize nominee a while ago. It's a romance, it's a war story at its center, and a family with 3 siblings, 2 of which have a ton of conflict, and that's before they fall in love with the same woman. It's like historical, it follows the characters for a long time, which I really like. It kind of like didn't fall apart in the end for me, but I definitely preferred like the first 2/3, I would say. But yeah, this was a really great book. Highly recommend it. I learned some things about like Canadian history, even though it was fictionalized, but I always appreciate that. And yeah, I would say my only like negative about it, and that's just personal, is that I didn't love like there's a tiny bit of fantastical realism, if you will, and I just don't like that shit, and I don't think the book needed it. But who am I? Because I didn't write it. And it took away a little bit for me, but whatever. Great book. Also, the only judge I really know is either Tegan or Sarah. I think it's Tegan this time. But then also the other one did it years ago, I guess. Okay, this blew my mind, and my sister's like, everyone knew but you. Apparently, Tegan and Sarah are not lesbian lovers. They are lesbian sisters, and not just sisters, but they're identical twins.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I had no idea.
Wow.
My sister was like, yeah, idiot, everyone knows that. And she was like, didn't you notice that they look the same? And I was like, no, not in like an identical twin way, more in like someone you date and you love, you start to resemble type of way. So yeah, that blew my mind. Also, they're from Calgary. So she is defending the Cure for Drowning, which is also kind of a lesbian romance, though it's a love triangle because her brother also likes the same girl, and the girl's confused, and it's quite good. It's good in the way that it made me think of, I think it's called The Housekeep, where it's these fictionalized historical kind of imaginings of what it would be like to be like LGBTQ back then, because obviously there's even bigger hurdles than today, and it's really interesting reading about those characters and those stories back then, because it was just like so impossible. Like, talk about impossible love. So yeah, I really like that, and I liked the end. I liked it all. It was like a long journey for the characters, and again, that's quite enjoyable, like to stick with them that long, and I didn't get confused, which is also a plus. Oh, next I read Foe. Wow. Okay, this book was amazing. It's by Iain Reid. It's sort of like literary sci-fi, and it's about, I don't know, is there a synopsis I can find for you? Basically, let's see. I watched the movie after I read it, and this is one of the rare things where I want to say I like the movie better, which is crazy, but it really helped me appreciate the story in more detail. Oh, there's pigeons. It's like horror, sci-fi, family drama. It's a real, like, once you know the ending, wow. And maybe that's why I like the movie more almost, because I knew what was happening. And I didn't know, I thought the movie would be so boring because, like, it's very interior, all the writing in the story. But it was amazing. Yeah, and then the author of the book also co-wrote the movie, so that makes sense. But yeah, I don't even know how to describe this book, and anything I say would probably spoil it, but this might be my number one pick because it was just so original. This reminded me of what I thought The Calculation of Volume Book 1 was, which was like a really creative metaphor for a relationship, which it was, but it was also literally talking about what it was talking about, as you find out in the next few books. But anyway, this one was too, but it was also such a beautiful metaphor for relationships, and it tied everything in. Like, wow, I loved it. Is any of this helpful? I don't know. I'm not great at talking about what I love, but I love this book, and it was a shock to me. And again, the movie really like deepens it almost. So how do I even explain it? It's very close first person, so you have a very limited understanding of what's going on, but that's intentional. And then that's again why the movie helped me understand and appreciate it so much more. But yeah, it's quite a quick read. It's simplistic in the writing because it's from the perspective of the character who like, as you find out more and more, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, not to spoil it, but yeah. Okay, what did I read next? Oh, A Minor Chorus. I wanted to love this book. I thought this book would be so good. It had all the potential, and like, I can't say I did. It felt like an essay to me. Obviously, the stories are important, the author's important, like this general topic of Indigenous people and Alberta. Like, it had all the elements of like something amazing, but it just didn't do it for me. And that's okay. It just wasn't for me. There were some good, like, I want to say anecdotes, like just very short stories from people in the small town that stuck with me, but I was waiting for it to go deeper or like go somewhere, and maybe that was the point, that the character was lost. And yeah, it wasn't my favorite out of these, and I wanted it to be, so sorry. Obviously still worth a read. All these books are obviously amazing. Okay, next. This one was such a surprise. Searching for Terry Punchout by Tyler Hellard. I don't like hockey. I don't even know about hockey, but this book was fabulous. I think this ties with Foe for my pick. It's like this journalist who ends up having to write about his dad, who's like kind of a failed hockey star back in the day, and just really like heart-wrenching father-son story, and the dialogue and the characters. I don't really ever read books like about Canada, so that was such a treat to read about stuff like that. And again, not as a hockey fan, but just I guess as a Canadian, like his descriptions of the small town arena and things like that really did nail that kind of hometown identity. So yeah, so much to love about this book. I think this might be my favorite, which is very shocking to me. But it's obviously not just about hockey. Okay, so the hockey one is about this guy's dad who was in the NHL, and then he was famous for having the most fights, and then he was sort of like kicked out, I think, and returned to his hometown, and obviously was like not a good dad, drinking problem, all these things. But now he drives a Zamboni machine, and there's this new guy that's about to break the record for most NHL fights. And the original guy's son, see how good I'm explaining this? Jeez. He pitches a story because he's like a failing journalist, and he's like, what if I wrote this story to, I think it's like Esquire, some magazine. And they're like, yeah, sounds great. So in order to write it, he has to go back to his hometown, which, as everyone knows, that's awful. So then it's like him interacting with his old friends who've never left the town, facing his dad, who he doesn't really talk to anymore and obviously has a bunch of issues with. So yeah, it's just like really, really good. I loved it. And then lastly, I saved what I thought would be the easiest for last, which was It's Different This Time. One of those good old cartoon book covers by Joss Richard, who seems great. Yeah, it was great. I will say with these books, a lot of them are like almost 500 pages. Like they're an easier read, but they're not short. So this book probably took me almost the longest to read, and it wasn't my favorite, but it was definitely good. I will say one I read like this, or in this genre recently, that I did love. I'm blanking on the name, but I'll make a short about it. But yeah, I mean, it was good. I think it's awesome to get more people reading, and I don't know if it's like, I love reading for the escape of it, so I do struggle, or I like modern day stories less. Like, I don't know why they feel trite to me, and I like to escape into like literature from another time or like historical things. I don't know. I thought it would be almost like a palate cleanser, and it was challenging in the sense that it was long, and yeah, it was good. Like, if they haven't made it a Netflix series yet, I'm sure they will, and they should. No hate on this one. My only note is that it wasn't set in Canada, which would have been nice, but it was New York, which is also lovely to read about. And after this, it's not a CBC Reads book, but I read Pachinko, which like everyone has read, and it's been on my list, and loved it. So it was a good balance. Like, I feel like reading intensely heavy long books mixed with short books. Like, there's books for every mood, every season. So yeah, I'm very interested to hear how they defend these, and I don't know, I just love books and talking about books, obviously, because I'm humiliating myself by recording in public right now. So I just got excited. I don't really know how the program goes, but I'll tune in through the podcast. So maybe it's not live that way, but... And then how do they convince each other? I don't know. I'm excited. So I read all the books. I guess it's too late for you, but you could read them and then just listen to the podcast after. Yeah. That's about it. The theme this year, which was kind of vague and confusing, was one book to build bridges, or like, yeah, I think that was it, to like bring everyone together. So I guess by those standards, I gotta give it to the hockey book. And again, no one's more surprised than me, but yeah, in terms of like overcoming things and forgiveness and like literal communities, it's the hockey one for me. I'm excited to hear how they defend these books, because I don't know, are they using AI? I would. Makes me shy. Readers aren't necessarily talkers, but these are celebrities, so we'll see.